Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barbin. With me is Jeff Dover, and today we're going to talk basketball and football.
That's right. We're just a couple of fans that watch college and the NFL normally on Saturday versus Sunday, but today's going to be our review since there's no football right now, talking about the March Madness, and it made us think about sort of our past in terms of a connection between football and basketball.
Right. So me and Jeff are both alumni of Florida, and back when Florida went back-to-back college basketball national championships, and somewhere in there was also the two Urban Meyer football championships. And I guess I don't know if it's technically the same season or the same calendar year, but they occupied both the college basketball and football championship at the same time, and interestingly beat Ohio State in both of them.
Yeah, which is really rare. Like, this is something that, as a fan, there was nothing better, right? Because normally, if you're a college football fan or an NFL fan, it just runs from August to January. And then you're just sort of waiting, and we watch recruiting and the signing day, and that's about all you have. So to be able to be a fan of a school and to see the basketball team, because things really, get good conference stuff in February and March, the conference tournaments, and then go into March Madness and to have a good run there was just amazing. To be a fan of a school and to have both things happen was the best. So we just got us thinking about looking at this year's bracket, who's had a good football season, who's going to have a good basketball season, and how is that going to turn out for them? Because if you're a fan of these schools, then you potentially have a good couple of weeks coming up.
Yeah. And now that there's a 12-team playoff, and who knows, there's speculation it's going to grow to 16 or 24. But for now, there's a 12-team football playoff. Our other interesting thought here was how many of these teams that could make it, I don't know, to the Final Four, the Elite Eight, even the Sweet 16, how many of them could overlap and also have teams in the 12-team playoff this coming year? And also, maybe another thought, which would be fun for the football fans here, is with NIL moving forward, are we going to see just the big money schools becoming dominant in both sports? And part of that evidence that it might actually be happening is the SEC has all of a sudden got like a disproportionate amount of teams in the basketball tournament that they used to never.
Yeah.
They never were represented to this degree. Now we've got all kinds of SEC traditional football powers that are frequently in the tournament and frequently going deep in the basketball tournament, which just never really happened before. It just wasn't theirs to dominate that as well.
Yeah. So let's talk about the NIL thing first. In short, yes, I agree with you. I think this is in football. Everyone is not worried about, or like recognizes that the Big Ten and the SEC really control everything. That has all the money. Even the NCAA is having trouble enforcing rules with them. And, and so, and because there's so much money in those conferences, it really does seem like the chance of a smaller team somewhere else coming in or being competitive is even less. And I think, just relating it to this year's March Madness, I think we're starting to see that. I think just looking across the bracket, the number of smaller schools. Now, if you win your conference, you're in. So a lot of the smaller schools that are in is because they've done that. But the at-large bids, right? Like in football, we get like the third-ranked SEC team, the fourth-ranked SEC team, the fifth-ranked Big Ten team. Like, they're the ones that want to make the playoffs. And I think that that's happening less in basketball. A couple of notable exceptions: Miami of Ohio is just went like 31-1 or whatever, and they're in a play-in game. Like, they're not even ranked that high. Santa Clara went to their conference championship against Gonzaga. They beat St. Mary's. That was a huge upset in the basketball. And they're like a 10 seed against Kentucky in the first round, which is going to be tough, So, yeah, I think that the NIL is making it even. I think we're starting to see it even in basketball.
All right. Well, where you want to go here, just scan the bracket for who we think. I mean, what do we want to just get to?
You agree with that, right? Like, you think that's NIL's the.
Yeah. I mean, it's in the end, it's schools, no matter how much of a traditional power they are or not, money's going to dominate this. And and the will to spend the money. Like, look what Indiana just did with football. Indiana forever has been a traditional basketball power. Here it's completely flipped. They just ran the table on a historic football season, and they're not even in the tournament, the basketball tournament.
Yeah, no, which is crazy. No, and I think that, and like back in the day, it wouldn't be uncommon to get more than one team from like the American Conference or the, the Atlantic 10 or something like that. And that's happening less now. Like it's going deeper into the, the ACC, Big 10 and SEC, like you said.
Yeah.
Big 12, and
I mean, sure. Well, then let's dig into that a little bit here. Like now, just the big schools' presence here. If we just scan the bracket here, we've got multiple SEC teams. If we want to start with the SEC, because that's our alma mater, that you just normally wouldn't see this many SEC teams across. We've got like Texas A&M. We've got Vanderbilt. I mean, Kentucky's a traditional power. Tennessee has,
but Arkansas had a really good year. Tennessee's also been really good.
Yeah.
Florida's obviously a 1 seed.
Bama's in there. Florida's a 1 seed.
Bama's been really good for a couple years now too.
Missouri. Yeah. So we've got like significant representation of the SEC here. Now, whether or not those are Elite 8 teams, a couple of them for sure. Florida obviously has, if recent success means anything, they can go all the way again. I'm not sure about all of the other SEC teams. I don't know how powerful they all are. I guess because I've been paying attention to Florida, and Florida's pretty much dealt with all of them. The final game against Vandy notwithstanding, Florida's clearly the best team in the SEC.
That's another fun little difference just between like basketball and football, because there's fewer games in football. The losses are significant, and that's all people ever talk about when it gets to the playoffs, like who's going to make it in and stuff. And it's like, is that one loss? Yeah, that bad loss. Like, is that really going to make a difference? And it was, because Michigan lost their conference championship game, but they're still a 1 seed, right? Like, and I don't know if that would happen in football, which makes sense just because there's fewer games, right? So they tend to, I think, mean a bit more. But it's just interesting that you can be, you can lose your conference championship and still get a 1 seed. But
yeah, so Dina, we're watching the Big Ten championship game, conference championship game yesterday, or whatever day it was, and she's like, "Oh wait, so does that mean Michigan's out?" My girlfriend doesn't know anything about college basketball.
No, and I said, "No, it's a normal reaction."
Yeah, I said, "No." She's like, "But they just lost." I said, "Well, no, but that's the conference championship game." She's like, "Wait, okay, so then that's not the playoffs?" I'm like, "It's kind of its own little playoff, but it doesn't really count." And then she's like, "So what does that? So they're in the tournament anyways, the March Madness thing, right?" She doesn't really know what it means. I said, "Yeah, they're probably going to be a number 1 seed." She's like, "Wait, they just lost and they're still going to be number 1. Why wouldn't Purdue go in?" And then from a totally green person's perspective, the whole thing just seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
You have your regular season and they only lost 2 games. And if you watch Michigan, they're clearly the best team. Like they're just so powerful.
Yeah, they're really good.
And then they lose in this. I guess she said, "Well, why did he even do this?" And I said, "TV ratings, I guess, because it doesn't even change their." Same with Florida. Well, Michigan and Florida lost their conference tournament, even though they won their conference regular season, and they still maintained their number 1 seed. Yeah. So, and then I said to her, and this all kind of made sense as I'm saying it to her. I was like, "Well, it's kind of like how you can lose you can lose the SEC football title and championship game and just still go in the playoffs and it doesn't affect you." She's like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense."
But you wouldn't
and
be
then
ranked number 1 though.
Dumb.
Yeah, you wouldn't be ranked number 1. That's the because that was some of the people were saying that Duke could have lost the first game in the ACC tournament and still get a 1 seed based on the resume, like which is, but anyway, it is nuts. All right, so out of these teams, who do you got who could, which school could make the playoffs either this year or next year, and have this year, next year, go to the Final Four or something like that?
So in football or basketball?
Yeah, so football, so this year or next year, make the playoffs, okay? And then in basketball, make the Final Four this year or like next year kind of thing.
Based on who's in the tournament right now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Michigan, if Michigan's a long shot, but if
Michigan's a good one.
Give me the quarterback's name. Why am I blanking on the quarterback? We're in basketball
Arnold
season.
Armstrong.
What, Michigan? What are you, nuts? No, Underwood.
Underwood. There you go.
It's not a slam dunk or anything, but it's one of the teams that could. I mean, and right next to them in the bracket here, Georgia definitely could be in the playoffs.
Michigan absolutely could either be like lose the Big Ten championship game or something like that, and then still get into the playoffs. Like that absolutely could happen. Yeah, so I think that's a good one. And then you got just down from it, Georgia. I didn't have them on my list just because I still feel like in basketball, they're they're in. It's tough now in the SEC because there's a lot of really good teams. So I just
Well,
didn't. I
hang on, but
can't.
based on your question, are they going to be in the March Madness next year as well?
Not just March Madness, but like go to the Final Four or something like in the
Oh, Final
like in
Four in both. Oh, okay.
no, just like football playoffs out of the 12 or 16 teams, whatever that's happening.
Right.
But then like go for a run in the basketball. Like
okay, then yeah, I'll take Georgia off.
Yeah,
Georgia
okay.
would make. I think it's possible to make the tournament, but not
Yeah.
go for them. Well, let's cut it off at the round of 16 in basketball and 12 for football. So
Oh,
it's like at
okay.
least kind of close, I guess.
Sure. So Texas Tech.
Potentially.
Yeah. So the
Potentially.
early
Yeah.
win totals we haven't talked about that is for football for Texas Tech. They're at 11.5 on FanDuel.
You know what's interesting? We just said this changes the landscape when you look at it this way. We just said no to Georgia and yes to Texas Tech.
I know, right?
Right.
So yeah, and then we got Bama and Tennessee. I think would be in that list.
I'd say
right?
both. Yeah.
Yeah,
Both.
Virginia. The Midwest is stacked.
Stacked when it comes to this
Yeah.
being good at both.
Right.
If Virginia's last year's success is any indication of potential for next year, yeah, you could have them. You could absolutely have
because
the
in
basketball
the
team.
ACC, the chance of them making the championship game because a school always misses Clemson or Miami or Florida State, depending on the schedule. You know what I mean? Like that, they could be in the championship game and then anything could happen. Iowa State. I mean,
now that they lost Matt Campbell, jury's out. Also, we know that they're struggling financially, which is unbelievable. The basketball team is this good, so I'd say maybe the basketball team is more realistic, but I'd say they're out on our little evaluation of, Sweet 16 basketball making the 12-team play.
Okay.
All right, you want to move over to the South then?
Yep.
Florida, not there yet. I expect the football team to improve, but it would be a hell of a season if in the new coach's Summerall's first season they actually make the playoffs. So I'd say no to Florida. They're not there yet. Football, I can see the basketball team just rolling, and Golden's just cruising right now.
Yep, very true. Clemson.
I don't think the basketball team's that good.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
the football team's really struggling from where they're expected to be.
Yeah. Same with Vandy, right? So like the football team last couple of years, maybe, but I have a hard time seeing that's going to be going forward like that with them too. Same with Nebraska. Shouldn't be that bad, but might be. Same with North Carolina.
Well, hang on. Let's not Nebraska. Have they flipped? Have they traded with Indiana? Now Nebraska's a basketball school. What's going on here?
So the North Carolina, for sure in basketball, I think it's going to be for the football. It's going to be tough. Illinois probably has a better chance than North Carolina, which is crazy. But,
which I still don't think. I mean, obviously the basketball team is pretty strong. Their football team, they just don't seem to have what it takes right now to get over the hump to get into the 12-team playoff.
Texas A&M?
Reverse. I think I think their football team has a more realistic chance of making the 12-team playoff than their basketball team making Sweet 16.
And then same with Houston. I think the football team's too far away, and it's the basketball team.
Well, no, let's hold on there. Let's hold on there. Houston was really competitive in the Big 12, and when we take into consideration winning the Big 12 is what it would take to make the 12-team playoff, they might be a few transfers and a couple of recruits away from putting that together. I mean, they were, they fell short when it really came down to it, but they weren't far off. They only needed to win a couple more games, and they could have been in the Big 12 championship game. So it's possible, less likely, let's say, but possible. But the basketball team's all the way there. So the basketball team, you would have to assume is a Sweet 16 caliber team next year as well.
Right. So we would need. Yeah, I guess you're right. Houston was 6-3, but it's just. Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's not like they used to be. There's some quality players there, and
they were 10-3. And it's just Utah, but Utah's gonna have a new coach. BYU, it's gonna be tough. Texas Tech's gonna be tough, but like that's. Other than that, there's Arizona State's got a lot of changes. It's the.
If they keep that rolling at Houston, they're all of a sudden an upper tier Big 12 football team.
So maybe just Houston out of the South bracket. That's pretty crazy. Okay, I have no one in the East right now. So we got Duke,
not Ohio State, not TCU. Yeah,
St. John's doesn't have football.
Not Kansas.
No. Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville. Okay, how about this? Louisville is the type of school that if they put it all together, could do it. Like we've seen Louisville football produce some really good players and really good teams. And this past year, if they didn't fumble a couple of games, they could have been the ACC representative. So to me, that school's got the administration and the athletic department and some pedigree there that it's possible on both sides. Like their basketball team has traditionally been pretty strong for a while. And the football team shows it's capable of becoming a strong team. It's just they keep falling short by a couple of games. But this past year, they inexplicably dropped some wild games that they beat Miami, then they lose to Cal.
Yeah.
So I think they're on the doorstep of it.
A 6-2 team made it to the ACC conference championship game, and they were 4-4 in conference. So it's not like it's just a couple wins. That's not ridiculous. I just think they're gonna have a hard time passing like Miami, Clemson, like the SMU, like anyway. But I agree. Maybe Louisville.
Not for sure. But put it this way: it's in the category of schools that it wouldn't surprise me in the next couple of years if we see them both in the 12-team playoff and the Sweet 16.
All right. Michigan State
definitely is a program that should be a standard for them. Sweet 16 and 12-team playoff. Like that's
12-team playoff. You still got them in there, eh? Yeah.
Well, I mean, besides this string of disastrous coaches with their off-field things that got them fired, but in the previous coaching era, they were one of the first teams to make the 14 playoff. Like that the administration, the funding, the pedigree, the history, everything's there for this team to be a perennial on the doorstep of the 12-team playoff. Probably more like with an at-large bid than winning the Big Ten, and then for sure a Sweet 16 caliber team. Basically,
basketball's no question. The football, they were 1-8 in conference this year, and I think they're more than 2 years away. And I just don't see them passing Indiana, Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, USC, Washington, Illinois. I don't like it. Those are. It's going to be. So they're a no for me. Should be, but they're a no for me.
Yeah, for next year for sure. To me, at some point in the near future, it wouldn't surprise me if we see them in those categories.
Man, you're thinking a big turnaround for Michigan State because they're 1-8 this year, and you're thinking next year maybe.
No, not next year.
Oh,
I'm just saying. I'm just more there. To me, they're like Louisville. It should. Gotcha. It has what it takes to be that one of the very few schools that has that dual sport thing going.
Right.
It's just put it this way. I can't see a reason why it can't. It's shown a history of being good in both sports. It's one of the very few teams that can perform in both sports.
I'm with you. I feel the same way about UCLA. I feel better about UCLA than I do about Michigan State in terms of when you put it all together.
All right.
So because I think the basketball, again, that could happen, and I don't think they're as bad off as as Michigan State is. This football was last year.
So you think football wise, between Michigan State and UCLA, you think UCLA has a chance to get to the 12-team playoffs sooner than Michigan State?
Michigan State was 1-8 in conference last year, and UCLA was 3-6. So just for like next year, yes, I think that UCLA, I put the odds better for them than Michigan State.
All right. Because that was Jeff, not me. All right. So moving on to the West.
Yeah, because UConn, we're not even going to talk about because the football's nowhere close. Yeah. Okay. Arizona.
No. Basketball, 100%, but the football team is
too far away. Even still,
I mean, I like the football team, and lately, and the coach, was it Brett Brennan? I think they're headed the right direction, just not yet. There's too much. I think there's too much. There's enough talent ahead of them in their conference that would hold them back from making the 12-team play. It's partly because of the conference they're in too. They're not getting at-large bids. Like they're going to have to win their conference, so to speak, to get in. So,
yeah. I mean, I think that they were 6-3 in conference last year, 9-4 overall. The Texas Tech and BYU were both 8-1. Like I don't know, it wasn't terrible. That was a maybe for me. But Utah State,
it bunches up really quick. Utah, obviously, no. Utah State, no.
It's have to win the basketball team. I listen, as a fan, we've got a good friend that goes there. They have a competitive basketball and football team, which is great. So, but it's just a step too far, I think, for the Final Four or the playoff. But
no. Wisconsin, to me, this is
that's
like
another one. That's in the same Michigan State UCLA category.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is a team that traditionally now maybe we're dating ourselves because when was the last time Wisconsin was in the Rose Bowl type thing? But my memory of Wisconsin is it's a top 15
always
football
in there.
program. Like it just should be on the doorstep of a 12-team playoff. It just should be. And and I thought the Fickle hire was good, and it's clearly hasn't worked out.
No.
And traditionally the basketball team's been strong too. So they're on the short list to me of big time schools that are good at both and should be capable, not next year, but at some point they're in that bucket with Michigan State, UCLA, Louisville. They're in that bucket that should at some point be able to be in the 12-team playoff plus the Sweet 16 in a given year. It's not next year, but it Wisconsin alumni could be like, yeah, I totally can picture that. Like anyone who's been watching football and basketball long enough can picture like, oh yeah, I've seen this school rise to that height on both sides. It's just not recently.
No. And I was going to say the same about Arkansas. Like Arkansas has been good in football and has been good in basketball. It just doesn't feel like it's happened at the same time necessarily, or and it's really hot and cold. Like, cause they can be really good or like go winless like they did, I think last year in conference. Right. So but that's a school, like it's in this similar, it'd be one category lower, but like then the Michigan State or Wisconsin, like we talked about, like where they can be good in both, So, BYU, I guess.
Not next year, but this team should be because they are wealthy. They seem to care about sports. They're scooping up recruits. Like they're actually moving forward in basketball and football as far as their recruiting base. So I don't think people realize how kind of famous, popular, wealthy, like this is this school's like big time. Yep. So even though it's in Utah.
Yeah. And no, I think that BYU was in the Big 12 championship game and they've got a chance to go to the Sweet 16 this year. So, because I think they're a 6 versus the 11 seed in that opening. They'll play a play-in team. Right. So I think they could beat that team. And then they've got a matchup against Gonzaga, which anything can happen, I think. So, but anyway.
So I put them in that category. Yep. Potentially this coming, I mean, they only lost 2 games last year, both in football. Both were Texas Tech.
No, and Bear Bachmeier is coming back, and it's And
he was a freshman, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got to assume.
And LJ Martin's coming back too, which is huge.
Big.
Yeah, because the games he missed, which we failed to point out an injury, and everyone wanted to tell us that in the comments, was, there's a different team. So if he's back and healthy, man, they'll be tough.
So who knows? Maybe that's a next year.
Or this year, like it's sort of as it's happening almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
So okay, Gonzaga, too bad. Really good basketball team. I don't think we've got a football program for them.
No.
Miami.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, weren't they in the Final Four just a couple of years ago?
Yep.
And obviously they were just in the national championship. So I think this is another school that's, there's no doubt that they put the resources into football. They're obviously putting enough resources into basketball to stay competitive in basketball. So yeah, I'd put them in there. They could be a Sweet 16 and a 12-team playoff team. I guess technically if they make it here, we could say they're doing it right now, like just being in the national championship. And if they make Sweet 16 here.
Yep. 13-5 in conference this year. They were 3rd in the ACC, which was ahead of North Carolina, Clemson, Louisville. Right, we're all in the tournament too, right? So 25-8 overall. So yeah, that could be happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Purdue, unfortunately, not.
Whoa! You're skipping the Missouri Tigers.
Sorry,
what are you doing here?
I didn't mean to. Yeah, Missouri. Yeah. Well, again, I'd put them in the same. It's almost like. Oh, I don't know if I want to say Arkansas. Similar, I'd put them in like the UCLA category, which is like has been good in basketball, can be good in football. I don't know if they've ever sort of put it together both years at the same time. You know what I mean? But like
I'd pull back one level there because UCLA, at least comparing them to something like UCLA, because UCLA has been a multiple champion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Same with Michigan State. But they they seem to have the administration and the resource allocation and the dedication. Like they are taking it seriously. Like they're not messing around when it comes to putting money into their sports, at least to their big sports. I don't know exactly how they spread it around, but I don't see their football team going anywhere. And if they're going to be as dedicated,
meaning
to
that like
basketball,
they're still be competitive, you mean?
yeah, they're headed, let's say in the NIL generation, they're embracing it and they're realizing we got what it takes. We can fund our way along with the big boys. We're not falling behind them for any reason, right? They have the massive stadium renovation that should be done this year. The team was really competitive, then they lost their quarterback. So there's no reason, the football team. So there's no reason a school like Missouri can't like ascend. So to me, this is one of those SEC teams that's like putting themselves on the map in both basketball and football, and partly might be an example of NIL flattening the landscape versus the traditional powers a little bit.
Yep, I'm with you on that. I'd put them similar to like in the same probability as sort of like Wisconsin or things
Louisville
like that
or
with
something.
No, and then we got Purdue, which is great, more perennial power in the the basketball. Probably they have been good in football, but that's not going to happen anytime soon for them.
Well, okay, but hang on the Purdue note, and let's just stay in the state of Indiana. This brings up the larger discussion about what the Hoosiers just did and why a wealthy, like big time school with lots of alumni like Purdue, like a comprehensive big time school, why can't they why can they not follow the Indiana model? Like obviously you need to find your version of Cignetti. Like you need like that true leader who can really put the thing together.
Yeah.
But, and I've seen Cover 3 and a few other podcasts mention this, like what he just did, as rare as it is, and it's rare, and it could be a one-off. It could be he's such a unique person, kind of like how Saban is unique. There's not very many of these guys.
Yeah.
But there's more than zero, right? There's Cignetti's one of them. Saban's one. Kirby Smart's another. Like what if that other guy, if there's a handful of them, 6, 7, 8 of them, if there's no reason now that a school like Purdue or any of these Missouri, any of these schools can't land something like that and completely turn it around. And you can't say, well, there's no winning tradition. There wasn't at Indiana. Like it's messed up everyone's perception at this point. Like if you're a wealthy school, like like Purdue is, there is absolutely no reason. Now there's no excuse. It could just be, we got to find our guy, but the roadmap, as rare as it is, you could argue is there. You just got to get the right guy. And it's possible, and you don't need a winning tradition. It does that part just out the window. It doesn't matter.
I get it. It's like it's possible to win the lottery. It is like and it happens to people. But I'm like they're 0-9 this year, and they've got they're on my no list because they would have to pass so many people in the Big Ten.
I know, but you could have said that exact same thing about Indiana just a couple years ago.
I get it, but I'll take the field because like that. Yeah. It's so rare how it happens, but it's but yeah. Anyway, that was, and then the last thing would be a play-in. Well, we got 2 play-in teams that we might have to have on the list, like Texas and SMU. Right, so the basketball was a little bit down this year for both of them. Like Texas was 500 in the SEC. In basketball, but they're could be going to the playoffs next year, maybe a bit better. Same with SMU. So
those are both wealthy programs that are taking NIL and
also
funding.
From the same state. Yeah.
Yep. And taking funding seriously. So they could, not next year, but they could be in the next few years. Oh yeah. The Sweet 16 and 12 team.
Like next year, like this fall, Texas could be in the playoffs, and then next March, Texas could be in the Sweet 16 or Final Four.
Right. I'm not sure about SMU. Could be in the playoffs. I don't know if the basketball. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the basketball team.
Yeah. So
there was more than I thought.
Yeah,
that we'd come up with that could actually pull that off.
It is like, and it's your, which is good. Like, and I think comes back to our first point, which is it does feel NIL related because it does feel like some of the bigger schools and the bigger conferences, there's less. Like when I'm looking at the bracket now, trying to pick Cinderella team, there's just not many to pick from, so. And I think it's because they're less at large stuff's coming in, and they're mostly coming in from the bigger conferences, similar to football, which is what the football
Yeah.
wants. They want like essentially an SEC and a Big Ten playoff, and then have everything else. The other teams can have their own thing. But
All right. Well, do you want to do the quick final exercise of who theoretically could win the whole thing in both sports in the next like 2 to 3 years?
like the championship only.
Like Florida did, the championship.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just scanning here. I'm starting in the East. I mean, it's.
I don't have anyone.
I'm just trying to think which of football or basketball is more realistic to win on a regular basis. Like, for
They're
instance,
both hard.
yeah, I know. I guess which is okay. Is it more realistic for the Gators basketball team to maintain its standing and then the football team to finally catch up to them, or is it more realistic for Ohio State to stay as a football juggernaut and their basketball team to catch up? Like which of,
Yeah.
or is it? I guess it takes less funding for the basketball team because you have less total players, so you could turn a basketball team around faster. That actually might be the answer.
Yeah, if I'm trying to pick a team or two, I've got Texas Tech maybe is on my short list, just to the way that their football's been going and their basketball team's been good, like for a few years now.
Mm-hmm. And their booster, I keep for Cody. I keep forgetting his last name, but he's dedicated not only to the football and basketball, to all sports programs. Like he wants to be a national power in everything. And so with that kind of backing, I think they'll be able to NIL their way into perennially good at both.
Yeah. And I'd probably say Bama right now too. Because
maybe Michigan.
I don't know. I think that Bama is a bit overall better team, but I don't know who their quarterback is for this fall. In Michigan, I know who their quarterback is, but I'm not really sure about the rest of the team. So but it's that's Michigan would probably be on my short list too. Although I just, I feel like that's tough.
That contracts down really quickly.
Yeah.
It's just not obvious what schools can pull this off on both sides of it. I mean,
that's my list pretty much. I think those
really
three
short
in terms of realistic.
I wonder if you mean, and that's like next year, the year after, like in really close term. I wonder. I'm super curious if we do this show 5 years from now and it's all just big NIL money powerhouses that are dominating both at all times. I wonder if that's where this is headed.
Maybe Texas. Would Texas be on my list too?
Okay, so that fits with my thought that it's whoever's already a football power. It's a lot less NIL and a lot less recruit. I mean, you just need one or two good transfers and one or two good recruits to turn a basketball team around. I mean, Calipari, it's one and done's the whole time anyways.
Yep.
So if anything, if you were going to gamble on this, you'd pick your top 6 or 7 football powers who have a chance at turning basketball around.
That have an average or above average basketball program.
And obviously an administrative will to want to turn the basketball program into a powerhouse, which basically all of these big SEC teams and Big Ten teams really want to do. And
Indiana's not in the bracket right now, but it'd be hard not to pick them right now.
Well, and you also said they actually allocated significant money to basketball. They just sort of, it didn't pay off.
Terrible season. Yeah.
So which is crazy to think that Indiana, they're not even in here, but in the next couple of years, they could also be a team competing for both, as long as Cignetti and what he's built continues to do its thing. Yeah, that's
about it.
That's about it.
So that's why, so if you're a fan, if you're alumni from one of those schools, you're a fan of one of those schools, you got to be, that's an awesome thing to have, really, to cheer for and to enjoy in the fall and in the spring.
It is super fun. It's like I don't know what the word is. It's like an unfair thing to have when you're winning both. It's like, when obviously we experienced it with Florida. It's like, really, we got football and we got basketball. Like they're the two highest profile. Obviously, there's plenty of other sports, but and the Gators were always good at baseball too, if you want to throw that in there.
Yeah, it's true.
But it was kind of cool. Like the memes are kind of funny. Like when it happened, it was like an email went out saying all Gator undergrads get an assistant undergrad Ohio State Buckeye to just do whatever they want. And oh, you're gonna carry my books for me and stuff. So it's kind of funny that it happened with the same school too. But
and Indiana was 9-11 in conference in basketball this year and 18-14 overall. So not terrible like that. You're right. One or two recruits or a transfer like could probably really turn that around. So
yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be hard for Indiana to turn it around. And there should be even more belief if there wasn't before. I mean, they have a history. And after what Cignetti just did, I wonder if that puts pressure on the basketball coach. Like, oh, geez, like what? Like, look what he just did. Like now, all of a sudden, we're a football school. All right, I don't know. You got anything else on your notes?
No, that's it for me.
All right. Well, and we know we're a football pod, but this was obviously nothing to talk about right now. So this was just something fun. We've been watching basketball. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you got any comments about teams that you would want to put in here in some of the categories we just covered, just by all means, put them in the comment section. And if you're still with us, we appreciate you checking out our video. We know our channel's small. We've just been going at it for a couple of years. So if you like what we got going on and you'd like to support us, a like and a subscribe would go a long way. And we'd super appreciate it. So for Jeff Dover, I'm John Barbin, and that's your Saturday versus Sunday podcast.